Hello everybody, Lord Magicus here, and it's that time once again. We're here to play more Merfolk in Modern. That's right, I know, it's been a few weeks. We took a week to play Goblin Charbelcher in Modern. We went 4-1 with that, that was really good. We took another week to play Merfolk in Legacy. We did 4-1 with that, that was really good. So, been away from Modern for a couple weeks, but I know, this is what everybody always wants in my channel, so you know what, we're gonna get it. Gonna get it tonight, people, alright? I know, we need healing. This has been a tough week for a lot of people. And it's hopefully this little bit of Merfolk content can, I don't know, maybe be just a little bit of a distraction, and for just a bit. We're here, we're together. We're gonna get through this. And we got the fishies here, so if you like what I do, you can, sub to the Twitch channel. You could also become a member on YouTube, and you will get your name added to the card at the beginning. So my little way of saying thank you to anybody who chooses to do that. Just, I mean, following either the channel or subscribing to YouTube is fine. Like, and leaving comments, liking the video, all really highly appreciated. So I don't do this because I'm trying to, like, get rich off of it. I'm just doing this because this is fun for me, and I like making stuff that you enjoy. So, yeah, let's get to it. So, let's see here. We gotta add a deck, right? Actually, probably need to remove the... yeah, that was last week. We played Belcher. Alright. We're back on fishes again this week, so let's go. Fishies. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Here we go. Look. All the fishes that you know and love. So, we got us our standard list here. You will notice I did take the Hexcatchers out of the main deck and put in the 2 Force of Negations to replace them. It's because I think this might be a little bit better against stuff like the One Ring. I mean, I've never been, like, hugely impressed with Hexcatcher, and I mean, Force of Negation does, like, mostly the same thing that it's doing anyway. I don't know, maybe this is... I'm not sure which one is better than the main, so we're just going to try it like this. Yeah, a Hexcatcher doesn't, like, hugely impress me in the deck at the moment, but, I mean, it's fine. Like, we don't hate it, but I'm not super in love with it either, so... Really, the strategy remains the same. We're putting all of our hopes and dreams into Harbinger of the Seas to try to win us the game. That's really it. On the sideboard, then the only other thing that's different here is that we are going to try some copies of Consigned to Memory. Just because this will help with the Eldrazi matchup a little bit. If we go up against the Bant deck, this will help a little bit too. I've seen that floating out around there, and because it does counter all the important triggers. Stuff like Skyclave Apparition can be very brutal, so we don't want to... Or, like, even just... It's really good against any deck playing Solitude, because we can always counter the evoke triggers with that. So, helpful in that regard. And otherwise, everything else is the same, so... Same strategy here. We're just going to run this through and see how we do this week. That's right, Motown. We're on fishes again. We were on fishes last week, but we were playing Legacy. And I know people don't like the Legacy stuff as much, but I still feel it's important to just show that Merfolk is a deck in many formats, not just Modern. So, and I think Merfolk in Legacy is actually not in that bad of a spot right now, because similar to Modern, the Flood Moon has really improved the deck and gives it a lot better matchups, so... It has some tools to fight. Oh, yes. Somebody does have to play it in Legacy. You know what? From time to time, that's going to be me. Not every week, but once in a while, because, you know, I grew up on Merfolk in Legacy, so... Alright, I also put my link tree in the chat. If you want to follow me on any of my social stuff, then it's there. This is an awful, awful hand. We have a handful of 7 mana sources. This is not a keepable hand in any regard. We are on the draw here. No, we can't keep that. This is much better. Definitely keep this. I think we're going to get rid of Basic Island here. If we need to, desperately, we have Specimen to play as a land, but if we draw another land, then this can be a creature for us, so... Alright. Archive, so I'm guessing this might be... Oops. What was it? Goros, or... Forest, Island, Mountain. Okay, so maybe this is the Leyline deck. Which, if it is in that case, then they've played an island. We probably just need to try to race them as quickly as possible. It's just Tide Shaper. I can always play like Lord and then Mockingbird and Lord again. If I draw another Tide Shaper, I very well may just, Oh, that's pretty good. I think I'm going to attack with the Tide Shaper first, just to see if they'll waste a bolt or something on this, and if they don't, then I'll just play Cavern like Lord of Atlantis. Okay. Definitely pick Merfolk. And if we don't draw another land, I will play this as a land so I can play Mockingbird, maybe copy Tide Shaper and Master here. That seems reasonable. Just maximum try to threaten to kill them. Get rid of a Plains here. Is this the Jeskai deck? But I don't know why they would have this land here for that. This also maybe changes what I'm thinking about right now. So there is some value in just holding up Sink into Stupor. Because if they have, like, Supreme Verdict, then that would be really interesting. Okay, So, alright, let's... What are the Ketra Triome decks that we need to be worried about right now? I don't think that the Jeskai deck is playing this card, so... I'm not exactly sure what that would be for. Spell. Ketria, yeah, okay. Just make sure. I mean, I guess it could be. And they do have a bunch of Supreme Verdicts in the main deck. Alright, let's just attack first and see what happens. Okay. We're at 12 here. I think I can afford to pay 3 life for this. And I'll pass. Hold up Sink into Stupor in case they, like, play Verdict. So that'll put them very close to dead. Yeah. The One Ring. Do I care about this? I think I'm actually going to sink this. Because I could draw another counterspell. That's not the worst. Do I just win here? They're at 11, right? So, play Master the Pearl Trident. So that's what, 7. Not quite. The thing is that even if they play the One Ring, they're in a lot of danger. Like, if they even following up with Verdict, like, they'd still be vulnerable to Mutavault here. And if they draw any cards with the One Ring, like, they're in super danger of dying to it, so... Sure, you can play it again. That's fine. Yeah, okay. I mean, this probably means they're going to play another one next turn, but if we just draw a counter spell, we're probably okay. Oh, that's very good. Send the message. Go to 1. Okay. Sure. You're going to die to this ring if you don't resolve another ring right now, so... they have what? Spell? Yeah, they didn't have anything. They were just dying to their own ring here, so here we go. Sink into Stupor was, in fact, the correct call here. Excellent. Okay. So, against this deck, what? We want Tishana's Tidebinder, I think. Uh, what the fuck happened to Spreading Seas? Why is it all, like... The border in this changed. Interesting. I don't think we want this card. I'm pretty sure Consign is good here, and I'm pretty sure Subtlety is also really good. Probably Harbinger of the Tides is not very good. Everything else is probably fine, though. Oh, I mean, I guess Hexcatcher might be better. Something like this. I guess I should check my notes here just to be sure that that's correct, but I think that that's about what we're looking at here. Here we go. Hexcatcher, Tidebinder, Subtlety, yeah. I think this is fine, right? Yeah, okay. We're gonna run this. Cool. Yeah, Harbinger of the Seas is very brutal. If we can get that in play, then they're in a lot of trouble, so. Alright, this is probably worth keeping. We do have, you know, 1-drop into like a Lord, and then if we draw the 3rd land, then Harbinger just wins the game, so yeah. So the Sink and the Stupor is probably getting played as a land, but, you know, sacrifices must be made. Play the Otawara. Play our 1-drop here. Okay. You probably have Spell Snare, so there is that to be worried about. So I might actually just play this Tideshaper and not the Lord right now. I mean, it could be Counterspell as well, but I think they have like more spells. I don't even know if they actually like all play Counterspell. I think they play like more Spell Snares here. So I would love to pay 3 life, and I'm just gonna Tideshaper on the Hollowed Fountain. Okay, they do not have anything. Good to know. So I don't know what their plan is right now, but okay, maybe Flage. Okay, that's good. I can hold that up. Because if they go for a 1-ring, I can just play Hexcatcher and then counter it. Pyroclasm. Which do I actually like? I mean, I guess I could play. If I could play the Hexcatcher here and throw away like the Tide Shapers to this thing. I'm gonna lose 2 things no matter what. The question is, what am I gonna lose here? Like, what do I want to end up and play with? I guess they could still have the Spell Snare. Alright, I guess let's find out. They didn't have it before, so I don't know if they're going to have it now. I'd rather keep this Tide Shaper in play that's turning off their white mana. Because this also puts us in a position where now they're like, they are tapped out here, so Harbinger of the Seas is more likely to resolve if we draw the land. Which I think we're supposed to do. We are protected from Solitude with Subtlety, and then we can back it up with the Consign. So this is looking pretty good. Like, even if they play the 1-ring right now, it's not actually that bad. Because they still can't, like, cast anything relevant. Sure. And the point at which they go to cast a new one, I can always just consign the trigger. Or, I mean, just counter it, so, yeah, that's possible. Okay. What do I do here? I could play a master here, and then that's gonna be, they're gonna go to 11, so this will potentially give me lethal for next turn. So I think that's fair to do that. Right now they're looking at, yeah, I could play this other master and then just have 11, so see how this works out. Okay. I think I'm just supposed to Subtlety this thing right now. So they have 2 counters in this. What do I do? Subtlety, pitch, master, attack them. They can what? Replay this thing, then I just consign it again. Well, the other thing is I could just replicate the consign. Like, yeah, that's probably the way to go here. Oh, I'm going to replicate it once. So you will not be doing that. And yeah, we have Subtlety to protect it again if they try. Sure, I guess. Another, I mean, this still keeps them in kind of a desperate spot here, so that's not good. I don't really want to play this master just in case by some miracle they manage to find like another basic planes and cast Supreme Verdict. So just send the message. So we go to 10 here. Sure. Okay. Prismatic ending, huh? Okay. Okay. Which I don't think I actually care about this because they're at 8, right? So they can put this back on top. It's not going to make any meaningful difference here. Put this on top. Like, yeah, they're just dead. And I guess they could have another Solitude, right? That's possible, but they go to 1 here, and then the ring's going to kill them, so I guess they can try to draw a consign for their own trigger here, or and if they don't, they are immediately dead. Alright, but you have to consign your ring right now or die. They did not find it. Okay. Alright, cool. We beat the Jeskai control deck. Neat. Good way to start off. Victory! Victory for the Merfolk. That's what we like to see. Alright, let's see. We are on the draw again. Yes, MTGO, stop sending me messages. Okay. Come on, opponent, do what you're gonna do. Come on, opponent, aren't you feeling blue? Gonna cast them Harbinger of the Seas. Ah. I don't know what's taking them so long. Oh, it could be me. This could be my internet could have dropped here. If it did, I'm sorry. It goes in and out, so that's why I have a recording. So if the stream drops, the playback will not. And I will upload the playback instead. So we're all. So yeah, my network just gets like that, and there's unfortunately nothing I can do about it when that happens. So. But I can see the bitrate does not look particularly high on Twitch, which means I suspect that maybe I could be the problem here, but we don't know yet. Looks like we're still alive here on the stream, so maybe it'll just come through, but we'll find out. Oh, yeah, we died. It'll come back in a second. Oh, still streaming, no lag yet. Okay. Let's. Yeah, my stream preview says that it looks offline, but okay, now we got a hand here. Okay. I don't know why the stream preview doesn't show up for me anymore, but The timer keeps going, so it looks like Twitch is okay. Okay, no, it looks like we're still alive. Okay, it looks like we're alive. So maybe it isn't me, actually. Okay. It... We might still be fine. Maybe it is just the opponent taking forever to decide what to do here, but... I mean, looking at this hand, like, it's not the greatest hand in the world, but we probably have to keep it. Like, we have cards that do things, so... Yeah, we have our mana. We can cast everything in our hand, so... It's not the greatest keep in the world, but we do, I think, need to keep this. Keep. Okay. Well, opponent has burned like 3.5 minutes on Mulligan, it looks like, so... Undercity Sewers. Okay, so we're probably up against Frogtide. That's the most likely deck that's playing this. Unearth, yeah, it is definitely Frogtide, which means his hand is actually surprisingly good for that. I think that there is very little chance that we're actually going to use this card. That's... and I don't really want to bolt myself for that either. There's a good chance I might cast Spreading Seas here. So I don't want to play Harbinger of the Tides just yet. Like, it's way too early in the game for that. Just eat out their spell snare. Yeah, that's fine. We need to get them to play the Froggy so that we can start bouncing it with our stuff. Or, you know, if we're even more lucky, then maybe they'll play, like, Murktide Regent, but it's probably going to be Oculus, if anything. They don't quite have enough cards in the graveyard to cast it yet. Bogart Troll, okay, sure, I guess. I am not really concerned by this at all. Yeah, the jig's up. We gotta tell him what's going on here. Okay. I might hard cast one of these spells here. Like, if they try to play a frog or something, I might just flare it. Okay, well, let's see if we can eat a counterspell from their hand here. Just bounce this thing back to their hand on the end step. Sure, if they do nothing, that's fine. Mockingbird. Oh, that's a very good card to have. Still not really in a position where I want to do anything. So, the cool thing about Mockingbird is if they play that Trawler again, I might actually just copy it and exile their graveyard. Because they need their graveyard way more than I need mine. They might not... I don't think they have... Okay, so that never... I was going to say, I don't know if they have any more Undercity Sewers, but that's yeah, that seems to like maybe that's the last one they have. But they had the Thought Scour, so it didn't matter. That's fine. They can put a bajillion cards in the graveyard. It doesn't actually matter to me. The other cool thing is if they tap out for Oculus, I can try to... I can either try to sink it or I can flare it. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll just copy it with Mockingbird, so. Trawler, okay. So I don't think they have a counterspell that can hit this here. Goodbye, opponent's graveyard. You worked so hard to build that up, and I took it away from you. The difference is mine has flying. And now I might play Harbinger of the Tides and bounce this thing. Not gonna block. There's no reason to do that. Sure, cycle away. Go for it. That's funny. This does give them the opportunity to burn a Fatal Push in this if they had one. But I don't really care that much if they do. Oh, they use it on the Harbinger. Okay, that's fine. I'm not worried about the Harbinger going away here. Oh, they have 2 Fatal Pushes. Okay, cool. That's also fine. Because I will probably just do the same thing I did before and just play Mockingbird and copy their guy again. They got rid of a Psychic Frog. Interesting. Alright, I'm guessing this is Oculus, and then we'll just bird it, and, you know, try to protect it with Force of Negation. Oh, Murktide? Ah, okay. That's not going to work out for you, opponent. Well, I think we're in a position where I have to bolt myself and then Harbinger to bounce this thing, so. So, that's weird. Maybe they have Oculus and still like 2 Murktides. But goodbye. You work so hard for so little. Sure, I guess. Not really scared of this thing. Get rid of that Psychic Frog from the graveyard so they cannot unearth it. I actually don't know if that I want to attack here because it turns off my Flare of Denial if I attack and they block. I mean, if they, you know what, if that's true, then maybe it might still be okay, because I still have another Harbinger here. You know what, that's fine. Let's do it. If they want to block, so be it. Because yeah, if they play Murktide again, then we'll just bounce it again. There could be a third Fatal Push. We'll see. Get the Vial on. May as well. Okay. Sure. I mean, they could just replay Murktide here, but it's going to be small. It only gets one counter now. So I don't know if they're going to do that just yet. Could be Oculus. Nope, no, just Murktide. Sure. It's fine. I assume this means they have basically nothing else, so... That's pretty good. They are not going to be prepared for yet another Harbinger of the Tides. I'll tell you that. Bye-bye. Go away. Don't come back. Cycle Unearth. Yeah, that card looks so bad right now. Sure, consider. Try to fill that graveyard back up. The next time you play Murktide, I should have Flare of Denial online for it, so we're hoping. It could be right now, actually. Go away! Nobody likes you! I don't really have a good reason to cast the Spreading Seas right now. I think I'm just holding up a counterspell this turn. Because if they do play like Oculus, I would really like to flare that. And then pitch Spreading Seas to Force as backup if I need to. Okay, well, it looks like they don't really have much. I don't know what this means. They obviously don't have land, so maybe it could just be removal, but who knows. No, we'll keep it on 2. That's fine. Spell Snare. Okay, sure. All right. All right, opponent, what are we doing? Do you have another Murktide Regent? Looks like they do. Alright, no thank you. Alright, here... I think it's actually worth ticking it up now. If we draw Harbinger of the Seas, we can vial it in. Any other creature we can play for 2 mana and be okay, and then still have our Force of Negation up, so... that was less than ideal. I don't think I'm, like... yeah, I don't think playing the island here does us any favors, so we may as well not. But we're getting at the point where we need to like draw creatures in order to like win this game, or because it's very sketchy at this point. Like one Lord of Atlantis is not going to be enough to get this done. Well, that's pretty good. Okay. See if they do anything here. Alright, I guess we're just gonna pass. I don't think they can reasonably attack, right? Because I'm winning this race. Maybe not, actually. Oops, there could have been some reason to cast it with mana for that. This is going to do 5, right? Oh, the exile's 2 cards now. Ugh. You know what? That's less good than I was hoping for. Well, I don't think I can afford to block it, right? It does not have menace here, so... alright, we're just going to take the damage, I think, this turn. I need a creature really badly. So I can block this thing and still attack them. Fuck me. That's so bad. I have to, like, block with the Lord of Atlantis, right? They can hit me for 2 here. And I really want to keep this in, because if I can find Harbinger of the Tides, I can still, like, win this game. Or, like, another sink into Stupor. Then it's going to be difficult. I need, like, I have to stop drawing lands. Like, we're so close to, like, stabilizing this. You can exile the 2 Murktides here and then drain me for 2 like that. He's not doing that, though. That's surprising. I just need creatures to throw in front, to put in front of this thing. Harbinger would be great, or Sink into Stupor would be great. Actually, that's fantastic. Okay. Because they cannot recast this thing here. Okay. So any reason not to do this right now? I don't think so. Alright, we're still in this, baby! Otawara was one of the good draws. They've already burned through, so we need them not to have like Oculus, right? Oculus would still be, well, they can't actually cast it. Okay, so Oculus is fine. I guess they've already burned through two Murktide, so there's a very good chance they don't have any more of those. So there's almost nothing they can actually cast at this point that really gets there, and that definitely helps secure the bag for us. All right. Harbinger of the Seas is going to take this one home. All right, they're at 3 here. Excellent. Again, there's not a whole lot they can actually do. Like, I guess they're just going to discard because they can't cast anything. What are we discarding? Discarded Meat Hook Massacre? Holy fuck, opponent. Wow. That's a good one to know about. I might not have discarded that because there is no fucking way I would have played around that. You know what? There's no reason to get greedy here. Let's just play it safe. Because I'm not gonna lose to like a counterspell and then them having something. I'll put them to 1. And I'm just gonna hope that Force and Sink into Stupor will do it. I don't need, yeah, because I have 6 mana to cast 2 counterspells right now, so that's the important thing. There's casting, like, I could cast this, but I don't know, it's not uncounterable, so if they have counterspell, they could then maybe play, like, I don't know, like, maybe a Murktide or something, plus, like, a counterspell, and then I would be in trouble all of a sudden, so there's no reason to put the shields down, but we got the job done. Holy fuck, some of those were really scary cards here. Okay. How do we do? Definitely Tishana's Tidebinder, right? I think we need this card. I get the feeling they probably don't have many Orcish Bowmasters that might, or at least they went through more than half of their deck without playing one, so I am guessing they probably don't have one. That is my feel about this, so maybe they're in the sideboard. We'll see. I mean, they could. It's not impossible. They could have it, but they went really deep without finding it, so there could be like 2 or 3. Hmm. I'm debating whether I want this consigned to memory or not. I feel like I probably don't, but it's still scary. We got to take out Spreading Seas, right? This card is terrible. And I think Subtlety is important. We need to bring in this card. Probably just that. Harbinger of the Seas is also not that great against them. Yeah. I mean, Dismember is a little bit more useful than it used to be. Especially because we have so much bounce here. So maybe it's worth bringing that in. Try it. It does kill Oculus, which is kind of important. Okay. This hand seems fine, right? It's not like I'm. Actually, it is kind of amazing. I think I'm keeping this. Got a strong curve, plus we got Cavern of Souls, so. We sided out 3 Harbingers, right? We just happened to naturally draw the 4th one here. Neat. Alright, just run out Tideshaper, I guess. Have our 1 mana 2/2. Loom Verge, okay. Psychic Frog, okay, sure. I think I'm just supposed to play Master of the Pearl Trident and race this guy, right? That feels correct. And then ideally next turn, if they give us the opportunity, we want to play Harbinger of the Seas and just win the game. So once we have a bigger board than them, so we can effectively race them faster. Yeah, it's not going to help their cause to burn Fatal Push on that. Well, they played Polluted Delta, so makes me a little bit more concerned. Ooh, that's pretty good. They'll probably get the basic swamp, to be honest. Decisions here. Can attack with the Tide Shaper and see what they want to do here. So, I mean, there's some possibility that maybe they have another Fatal Push and they're just hoping to keep it for Harbinger. I could sink this thing, but I don't know if I want to. I'm not sure that I want to do that just yet. I think I want them to crack this fetch land first. See where this goes. Chalice on 1 versus Unearth. It's not a terrible thought, but I mean, it I don't know. We do have this Otawara. I think maybe I'm supposed to just play Mutavault and Master the Pearl Trident. Maybe they'll burn a Fatal Push in this, and then I could also just Mockingbird and copy the frog, right? That's not the worst idea either. Because this leaves me the option of playing Master next turn and then still maybe attacking with Mutavault. See if they want to do something here. They seem not to. Oh, fuck. I definitely fucked that up. I should have tapped the Mutavault for this and make it X equals 3. Because they can actually Spell Snare this now. I put this in Spell Snare range for no fucking reason, so I'm dumb. Well, they had Counterspell anyway, so it's not that big a deal. Also, they did not get Basic Swamp, which I feel is probably a blunder in their part. Because they're just opening themselves up to Harbinger of the Seas at this point. Oh, well, they had the Basic Swamp the whole time. Never mind. Alright. Never did they not have it. Neat. That's pretty good, actually. Alright, so how do we want to go about doing this? Probably need to play... I think I want to attack with Mutavault here. I think I want to play Harbinger of the Tides and attack. But it's a matter of whether I want to use the Sink into Stupor or the Otawara to do this. I'm guessing there's probably another Fatal Push in our future here. Sure. Okay, so they killed the Mutavault, so it's less likely I'm going to use the Otawara, so I may as well use that to do this. Okay. Let's make sure the frog goes away, and this, again, sets us up for maybe casting Master of the Pearl Trident, getting in a big attack. Cannot be countered, opponent, so I don't know what you're thinking here, but maybe Subtlety. They do have Subtlety, I think, so they might be considering that. Sink into Stupor, okay. Sure, I mean, I'm kind of happy about that. You're gonna do that just for a frog here? That's what you can't afford to invest into it, right? You get to draw one more card with this thing. What is your plan? Like Murktide and then I just like sink it? Oh, they have another frog. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. That's actually pretty good too. Okay. We'll cast the Tide Shaper. Cannot spell snare it. They could use a counter spell in this thing. Mystical Dispute. I mean, sure. I'm trying to run their like hand as low as I can so that when I stick Master, I can start attacking. That hopefully don't have any more like removal for it. That's the dream. Like if I could draw like another Lord and then play Sink and then two Lords, like that's winning. The only thing we have to be careful about is they could have like Toxic Deluge, so there is always a risk of that. And because they have the basic Swamp, I can't really play around that. So, I don't know. Flare's not a bad draw. Force is not a bad draw. Sure. It's not exactly what I was hoping for right now. Alright, I'm just hoping that they don't have the third Fatal Push. They do not. Good. Excellent. Alright. Alright, opponent. You cast Deluge. You have to do it X equals 2. It puts you to 3. It's kind of dangerous. You could protect one frog, I guess. Right, and I guess what they could have they could put discard a card for each one of these things. Yeah, they could actually protect these here. I just need them not to have Toxic Deluge right now. That's pretty much it. If they have Deluge, then we're fucked. And I mean, they're playing in a way that makes me think that they have it. Or they know that they don't have it and they're desperately trying to dig for it. So we're okay. They just didn't have it. All right, cool. Opponent did not have the Deluge and they lost. Excellent. We are 2-0 in our league. Victory. Good for the fishes. All right. We've been going for an hour here. I need to take a 2-minute break here. I will be right back. Okay, everybody don't go anywhere. Lord Magicus will return in just a second for more epic victories. I'm back. I'm here. I hope you didn't go anywhere. Chat, tell me you've not abandoned me. Not in my hour of need. Here we go. We're here. Alright. Let's go. Excellent start to this league. So, yeah, we faced off against 3-color control. Well, I don't think they use the green for anything, but... is it just for, like leyline bindings or something? Maybe that's why it's there. Or prism. It could be that and prismatic ending. Okay, so that makes sense. It's like a Jeskai deck, but they do actually play like the lounge and the Ketrit. All right, that makes sense. So yeah, we played against the ring control, and we also played against Murktide. I actually didn't see them play Oculus at all, so that's surprising. There's been a lot of debate over whether Murktide or Oculus is better. I've seen some people try to split them. There's also been some builds that play like Flare of Denial with like the creatures. I don't know. It's interesting. We are on the draw once again. It's alright. Didn't stop us before, won't stop us now. We're probably up against Boros. And this is not a keepable hand. This is equally not a keepable hand. We cannot play off of one Cavern of Souls. It's not going to be enough to get us there. This is a fantastic hand. We're going to keep this. Let's get rid of... what? Probably Master of the Pearl Trident and... it's either... yeah, well, obviously we're keeping Harbinger of the Seas, so do we either want the Flare or the Harbinger here? Probably the Flare is a little bit more... well, it could be more important. I'm not sure. I think. We are on the draw here. Which means they're going to get to play 2-drop before we can do anything. I think I need the Flare. There's just too many ways this can go poorly for us if we just don't do anything. Alright. I'll probably play like any creature like on turn 1 if I have one. Alright, well we got another Harbinger anyway, so it turns out that was the correct decision. But we need another land so we can get the Harbinger of the Seas out. Better not get mana fuck, boy. Well, we can cast spells here. The important thing is we need to get to 3. This matchup is incredibly incredibly dependent upon this card resolving. So if I don't find the 3rd land, okay, well that is actually the 3rd land, so that's actually okay. So we will play Harbinger of the Tides here. It looks a little bit silly right now because I'm not bouncing anything, and there's a good chance they might burn like a bolt or something on it. But I need to clear the way for Harbinger of the Seas. If they have removal, I need them to kill this thing, and if they save it, I can use the Flare to protect this guy. That is the strategy. So I need them to like tap out, and then Harbinger of the Seas hopefully can get the job done. That's fine. That'll get turned off by Harbinger. That's it. That basically just wins us the game. Yeah, you may as well attack. It's not a guarantee victory yet, but this puts us well on our way here. Because there's a very limited number of spells they can actually cast from this position, and Harbinger of the Tides can undo some of them. So basically, they need to have, like, Static Prison to get rid of this thing. Which they have. Okay, fuck. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if this game depends on that sticking on the board. If they have, like, the basic and Static Prison in their hand here, then we can't ever realistically beat them, so... and this is also basically going to win them the game, because we were never beating Ajani, like, on this empty board like this. Maybe if I draw, like, another Harbinger... Well, even if I drew another one right now, they can just fetch for the basic, so, like, this is incredibly fucked. I had to counter the Flash, because it was just going to kill my Harbinger anyway. Well, you know what? I guess it wasn't going to matter. Alright, I gotta think, because this was just gonna kill Harbinger. I could have kept the Flare, but they were still gonna, like, play Static Prison, and I couldn't obviously Flare it if I didn't have Harbinger anyway, so... Yeah, actually, I don't know why I bothered to Flare that. That was pointless. Yeah, okay. But unfortunately, I think this game is basically over from this, like... They're gonna just fetch this away. Yeah. I have to, like, what, Harbinger of the Tides and bounce this thing, but Ajani is also incredibly dangerous here. Let's see. I don't think I'm supposed to play Tide Shaper just yet. If I draw a land, it's going to be more important to actually, like, use it. Well, they have the basic mountain now, so alright, we are actually just, like, screwed here. So, I mean, they can actually just not pay for this and still be able to cast stuff. So, yeah, they're choosing to do that. However, keeping the Tide Shaper means if they don't have removal, I could turn off the mountain here. Alright, oh, I can't block that. Alright, maybe it's not over yet. If they don't have removal here, then there's hope. Because they might think that they could still draw into it with this. I don't know. Maybe. There's hope. We can try. The One Ring, actually, that's okay. That's still fine. I mean, they're going to draw a bajillion cards here, but it means I get to turn off their only basic mountain right now. Yeah, I kind of have to do that. And then I play, what, Lord of Atlantis? So, okay. This is what we're doing. It's not over yet, people. Somehow we're still barely in this. Alright. And now I have a 3/3 that can block their cat, which means they can't play any more red creatures. So Ajani's, like, not dangerous when it flips right now. I have tons of Island Walk to start beating their face in. I need them not to draw another Static Prison. That's the card that kills me. If they have another one of these, then I am actually dead. Alright, let's go. We're doing our best, because otherwise they're going to die in, like, 2 turns. I don't even have to, like, block this at this point. This thing can flip here, but it's not really going to do anything. Oh, no! No! Fuck! Fuck! God damn it! How do you just have everything? You only have, like, 2 or 3 of these in the main deck, and they were both in your top 15 cards. No! Alright, that's it. The game's over. We tried really, really hard. This matchup is, like I said, it's atrociously dependent upon Harbinger sticking, and we gave it our absolute best effort, but the opponent just, like, had everything they needed, so what are you going to do? Ah, that's frustrating. But it's the game that we're playing here, so. Okay. Alright. How do we, like, we kind of want, like, all, well, I guess we don't really need Lord of Atlantis that badly, right? I think that's the card that we can cut here. Yeah, like, the 1-drops are not that important here. We have to probably keep the counter spells. Tishana's Tidebinder is also fine because it deals with Flage, but so does Consign to Memory. Like, this card is not useless either. It does counter a bunch of triggers. I think, though, because we're on the play, we're supposed to just not do that. I think what? Get rid of one of these. Yeah, okay. This is pretty much like, because you know what, the Mockingbird, if we get Chalice on, well, no, this doesn't affect this really, because we can still play an X=2, so we need to seize them out. The Lords are the least important thing. Actually, you know what? Harbinger is not as important on the play. I think maybe we do it like this. Okay. On the draw, then the Harbinger matters a little bit more. Okay. Alright. Gave it our best shot. We very nearly got there. This hand is fantastic. We're going to keep this. Our opponent is going to get to cast like one spell this entire game. Hopefully. That's the plan. Planes. Okay. Sure. Okay. We'll have Harbinger of the Tides to like deal with this thing, so. That's not great. They revealed the One Ring. Alright, well, they're not casting that, so. So we're definitely just casting Harbinger here to make sure that... Ooh, you know what? Okay, so there is actually something to consider right now. Flage is definitely a concern. They could have that, and if they have Flage, then they just kill Harbinger of the Seas, and we can't really do anything about it. But I think that we're not able to play around that effectively right now. If they have it, we're probably going to die. If they don't, we're probably going to win. Because we'll just turn off the mountain, and then Harbinger will just probably win the game. Let me think about this. Alright, there is some argument to playing Spreading Seas first, but I guess... What, if I do that first, then it means that Flage is probably not going to kill me. But it'll make it a little bit harder to, like, catch up. Okay, the 2-drop spells we need to be worried about right now are Ajani and more Amped Raptors. They also have Goblin Bombardment, which if that gets into play, that's really dangerous as well. If they can also just play a land and play that, so there's nothing we can really do if that happens. Ragavan is also a possible thing that could happen to us, which would be really bad if it did. 4 Flage is like so incredibly likely though. So I guess they can't. I don't know. They can't play Ragavan because of the Chalice, right? So okay. So we're worried about what? Goblin Bombardment is a card they could cast here if they have red mana, but again, they could just play another land and still do that anyway. If they don't have another red source for some reason, then they can't play that or Amped Raptor. The problem is if Ajani gets into play, that's going to make things really awkward because then we can like never block this thing. But I don't know, it's... How do you have Flage in your hand? That's the question here. Because if I seize this and you play any land and then I play Harbinger afterwards, you probably can't cast it, right? Ever. Then I can play Harbinger of the Tides and like bounce this thing back to your hand and probably like win from there. Alright, this is what we're doing. I think that I need the basic mountain to go away first. They don't have any zeros, do they? I guess they could have Thraben Charm, but I can't really beat Thraben Charm. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't think they have anything on zero that makes Chalice and zero worth playing. So it's just the problem is if they have flaws, like there's a Ajani. Yeah, Ajani makes this so much worse. You know, this is going to get rough really quickly. So, Harbinger will help us a little bit, but not by enough. Alright, so what are we doing here? They didn't find another land, so that's worth noting. They are going to attack with a bajillion creatures here. Maybe I just have to play Harbinger of the Tides at flash speed and just hope they don't have another land. I think that's the way to go here. Alright, what are we doing? That's really bad. Yeah, this is a draw that we're just realistically not beating. There are so many ways for this to go wrong, and it's impossible to play around all of the cards they could possibly have here. Alright, we're dead. Like, I cannot beat this, so. I don't know, Boros is like that. It's really basically about, like, does Harbinger of the Seas stick? If it sticks, you win, and if it doesn't, you die. And game one, they just had, like, an incredibly good hand to just deal with Harbinger. And in game two, we were just, our sequence is a little bit awkward in game two, because they had, like, both basics to start with, and, like, they had all the creatures to play around the Chalice there, too, so it happens. Yeah, and the problem is just playing Harbinger naked, like, loses so badly to them just having, like, Flage there, so I don't feel good about that. Alright, well, they are on a mold of 6. We're going to keep this. This is going to be one of those attack their mana kind of hands here. We're going to just go Vial into Spreading Seas, most likely. Oh, that's not ideal. Alright. Excuse me. This might get Spell Pierced. They might just be getting a Surveil land. They like to shortcut that sometimes. Oh, this is getting Spell Pierced for sure. No, Thought Scour. Okay, that's... I mean, it could have been worse. Well, there's Oculus. Oh, God. Are we fucked? Like, already? Oh, my God. Alright. I mean, I guess. They could just unearth this thing right now, and we're in such deep shit here. Yeah. They have Oculus in turn 2. Just like the fucking natural Thought Scour into Unearth, like, so... This is too early in this game. I can't beat this on turn 2. It's so fucking ridiculous. Oh, no. Alright. This is also not the kind of hand that's ever going to beat this. I actually don't think that we have any realistic chance of beating them at this point. Like, this is not something that matters here. We're getting attacked for 7. Okay, that's it. They're dead. We can't beat them when they have just, like, the most insane, like, start I've ever seen from that deck. Sorry. That was insane. Ridiculous. Okay, well, we were what? We were on the draw for this one too, right? Yeah. We've been on the draw 4 games in a row now. That was just terrible. Yeah. Alright, you think that Chalice is actually a little bit better against this deck? I mean, it could be, but I'm not convinced that it's actually the way to go here. They do, again, they still have like spell snares and stuff, so it's very, very unlikely that it's gonna stick. I don't know, maybe it will. Like, what is it? It turns off like their cantrips, their fatal pushes, their unearths. Like, it could. The problem. All right, so spreading seas is obviously really bad, and then it means we're taking out all the Harbinger of the Seas. We wanted subtlety against this deck. We have brought in Dismember before, but if we're doing this, then all right. Sure, we'll try it your way just because of science. I'm not convinced that Chalice is really that good against this deck, but I guess we'll find out. This hand is ass. This is not much better, to be honest, but we do have to keep it. Get rid of an Aether Vial here. Just play this tapped, because I'm not going to play a Lord into a counterspell. Mystical Dispute or Spell Snare are both things that would eat my master here, and I don't want that. I'll just Vial and Tideshaper at the end of their turn. The only good news is we have a sink. So we find another land, then we can deal with like an Oculus or a Murktide. That was just so incredible for them to just like flip Thought Scour like that. I guess put Tideshaper out, and then they'll probably just take a Master. That was kind of rough. All right. They still probably have like Fatal Push, and they probably want to use it on the Master, so I'm just gonna hold it back for now. I don't think it's worth the extra 1 damage here. Make them use the mana on their turn when it actually matters more. Okay. Let's see. Leave this on 2. 2 is the number we want, so... Otawara doesn't really do a whole lot right here. Alright, well I guess we're going to find out if they have push. And they do. Orcish Bowmasters. That's actually worth sinking here. Oh, fuck. Do they actually have Mystical Dispute? Because if they do, we're dead. No, they're just going to Surveil. Okay, that's fine. I was very scared. No blowouts with Bowmasters today. Okay. Alright. Well, we know next time to be worried about that. So I guess if we draw a Lord, we just win. Okay, Bowmasters. They could have double Bowmasters, and we'll know if they go. They have double Bowmasters. Neat. Okay. Fuck this card. This card is a fucking mistake. Like, both this and the One Ring are just, like, atrocious. I hate both of them. This is a mistake designed to try to fix another mistake, and that's not okay. That is like terribly shitty design. All right. Well, we're not going to be doing any attacking here, so. Good news is the opponent is probably not doing any attacking themselves, so they are in danger right now of us just drawing a Lord and killing them, so I guess yeah, we have Mutavault now, so if we draw a Lord, that's 6 Island Walk, so we'll see how this goes. Yeah, that's about what I thought. I'll keep the Otawara in hand for right now. There's no reason to spell my secrets here. Again, I don't want to attack at the moment because it doesn't actually accomplish anything. Cycling Unearth? Okay, sure. We're close, but it doesn't feel like we're that close. So we're flooding out on mana right now, and it's pretty terrible for us. It's not bad. Probably just going to play this. Just leave up Otawara. Sure. What I would really like to do is get to a point where if I can have like a Lord plus 6 mana, I can wait till the end of their turn to Vial in the Lord and then protect it with Otawara. Yeah, we can protect it with Otawara because it can bounce our own creature. And then on our turn we could, animate the Mutavault attack, and if they try to kill the Lord, bounce it to our hand and then just Vial it back in to beat a removal spell. That's like the most realistic way we could like try to win the game from this point. Okay. Sure. Go ahead. Go to 4. You cannot take my Otawara. Otawara is a very good card right now. That is so dangerous. Why would you do this? Okay. So you have 3 cards in hand? Obviously it's not removal or you would have used it by now, so what the fuck are you holding on to? I'm struggling to think. If I attack with both of these, like, I guess you could have another Bowmasters. That's the problem. I can't, because if you have Bowmaster, like, you can block and then Bowmasters it. I really need to have Island Walk. So, right now, the plan is still the same. So we have the 6 mana here. We need the Island Walk Lord to really get this done. I'm not worried about the stupid army token. It doesn't do anything. We beat 1 removal spell, and they've already... What? Actually, they haven't... They haven't used any yet, so it's still very probable they have at least one. But they have 4 cards. They could have 2. That's not bad, actually. I can use the Mockingbird to copy the Bowmasters. Here's the other cool thing. I can play around the spell snare that they might be sitting on by just casting it for X equals 3. If they have Counterspell, I can't defeat that, but this gets around... This plays around Mystical Dispute and the Spell Snare, so copying Bowmasters and pinging their own face is actually really strong, because it limits the amount of times that they can cantrip here. Interesting. You have... I mean, this really feels like you have Mystical Dispute. Do I have to care about this right now? I'm not sure that I do. It does mean that, like, I could probably safely attack with Mutavault and Tideshaper here. But if you have one Fatal Push... What happens? I mean, it wouldn't be great, but... This is probably the best opportunity I have to make an attack. They could, like... Excuse me. They could double block. Take 2. Alright. I think this is what we're doing here. So I feel like they want to try to Mystical Dispute. The thing is, they couldn't do it, so they had to use Sink into Stupor there in order to make Dispute work, because I had the 3 mana open. So let's see. I think they're gonna do this, yeah. Okay. You realize, like, if you don't do something right now, you have 3 cards left, so... I can just copy the Tideshaper, I guess. I think now, because they lost both of these, they're at 2. I think it's worth trying this, because if they don't have Dispute, this just ends the game. Because they can't Toxic Deluge for 2, and anything they put in front of it to block is just going to get Otawara. Because my Tideshaper still has Flying. So if they just play like a Psychic Frog, that's not enough. Otawara will just bounce it and kill them. Okay, or I guess they could have 2 Bowmasters. That's possible. They're going after my face. That's interesting. What the fuck is, like... opponent, I don't know if you know this, but that's not gonna work like that. Interesting. Okay. Alright, let's see what they got. Apparently they had nothing. Alright. That was a very long, hard-fought game, but we get to go on here. Alright. I don't believe in this card here as much on the draw. I don't think so, anyway. What did I leave? I had Dismembers before. I think that probably makes more sense here. All right, we're in it to win it, baby. I think that this hand is okay. It's It's got some stuff in it. Alright, let's go. Yep. Cool. Means my vial's not getting spell snared, and I'd be... Oh, well, fuck me. Alright, that's scary as hell. I guess if they go to unearth it, I do have Force of Negation, but I really do not want to have to force a thing. I also have Dismember as well, so let's hope I don't need to do that either. I have to get the vial online. That's non-negotiable. Alright. That was probably the best thing they could have surveilled here, because now all their unearths are just going to be trying to do this forever. Okay, consider, sure. And there's a decent chance that I might just Tideshaper to this thing. Oh, they don't have another land? Opponent! Opponent, what are you doing? You kept a fucking tapped land? That's your only land here? Oh no. Oh no, opponent. What are you doing? That was such a sketchy choice. Now opponent is the one who might be mana screwed. Alright, they have an island, but okay, well, unearth is not a thing. There's very little they can do with just double blue here when I have Vial, so... Okay, let's see what happens. It's fine. Not quite sure what they're doing here, but... Alright, so here's the good question now. I either put Sink into Stupor in as a land, or I put the Hydroelectric Specimen in. The thing is, if they play a black source and try to Fatal Push Tideshaper, I can actually redirect it to the Specimen here. I can play Specimen and redirect it to this thing. It will actually do nothing at that point. And if they try to counterspell it, then I can Force of Negate pitch Tideshaper. So I think that's the line I'm going to go with. I don't know. Thought Scour, okay. But I mean, this also just holds up Force of Negation. So if they do, like, find, like, land unearth, then so be it. It could be Murktide. This could be Toxic Deluge as well. Or it could just be Oculus. That's fine. I have Dismember here, so... Important choice now. I think that I'm still leaving this on 2. Even though there is some reason to take it to 3 for that. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to Tideshape here, turn off their black mana again, because they obviously just top deck the land. And if they find like land plus Toxic Deluge, I'm just gonna hope that I can Force of Negate it. They might not find another land and just be unable to do anything of value, so... Yeah, okay, great. I think this means we basically just win here. Because there's almost nothing they could, like, do at this point. Sure. It doesn't actually matter. Okay, well, they did find a fetch land, so I guess they just couldn't do anything, right? Because what are they, like, they get the, they don't even have Deluge, right? So, yeah, no, I guess they had nothing. All right, that was scary. We had to fight really hard, but we got there in the end. So we are now 3-1. All right, cool. We are on our way to another 4-1, potentially get those treasure chests. We're in the money already, so that's a plus. So no matter what, we've come out ahead. We got our money for this. Where are we going to be? We are on the draw for the last game. So we've been on the draw literally every game. We will keep this. I think this is fine. What are we up against here? We have, like, lands and Harbinger. Oh, fuck. Ketria Triome, huh? Okay. This is... Oh, that's great. Cool. Just play Aether Vial, pass. Excuse me. Harbinger of the Seas will probably be good against this. Maybe Jeskai again. Okay. Which means maybe they're holding up, like, Counterspell here. Flare of Denial. Okay, that's worth noting. Alright, so... Just thinking about this for a second. This is probably another one-ring control deck. So they do... Actually, that's a good question. Like, are they actually... I think they're playing a bunch of spell snares. I don't know if they actually play, like, a bunch of counterspells or not. It might be worth just vialing in this Mockingbird just to have Flare of Denial mana up. I think... I don't know if I want to... I don't know that I want to play anything here, because I feel like if I play Master, it's just going to get spell snared, so there's no reason to walk into that. If we really need to flare something, we can just vial in Mockingbird and Flare of Denial it. And then hopefully if they, like, tap out for something like Teferi or whatever, then we can just play Harbinger of the Seas and that's fine. Interesting, okay. This could also be the domain deck, right? I don't know. It's probably Jeskai. Plains, Island, Swamp, okay. And then so they have like Leyline Binding mana here. So what are we doing? Island, okay. Sure. Prismatic Ending, huh? I feel like this probably means that I want to vial in the Mockingbird. Because I want Flare of Denial up when I try to cast this Harbinger. Get in our 1 damage first before we do anything else. So they can't spell snare it, so do you have Counterspell? Or Leyline Binding, that could work if you... No? Okay, I guess they don't have anything. Alright, neat. They could have Solitude, so Flare does protect us from Solitude right now. And I mean, at this point, we don't really need to cast much else here. They have Archmage's Charm. Okay, so they are going to get rid of Harbinger. Cost them a fair bit, though. Alright. The real pro move would be if we could just draw another one right now. Okay, so probably no Spell Snare, but they did have Archmage's Charm, so... Yeah, it sucks. What are you going to do? They have 2 cards left. Like, at this point, if they have, like, the One Ring, I'm in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of, like, I don't have nearly enough pressure to even attempt trying to, like, win this game at this point. I think I need to play this as a land here. And probably just pass and sink into Stupor, whatever they do. I don't know if running out a Naked Master is going to be good enough at the moment. They don't do anything. That's surprising. Okay. So they have 3 cards. Okay. What do I have to worry about? They didn't find another land, and they obviously didn't have the One Ring, so maybe this is fine. If I draw another land, this lets me play both Sink and Harbinger together, just in case they have, like, Archmage's Charm. I mean... Yeah, it's fine. Sure. It's not the important thing here. Guess you could have a basic mountain? No, they don't. Okay. So what is the point of the island? Are you going to cast Counterspell? Okay. Well, this worked out kind of the way we thought it would. Well, Flage is offline. Okay. Okay. Let's see. There's Brain Surge. All right. There's a lot of stuff that could go on here. So they do have Counterspell, right? And they showed a Supreme Verdict. Okay. May as well play Spreading Seas, draw the card. Okay. We have to just draw stuff before they do. That's it. That's pretty good actually. Means if they ever do try to like pitch Solitude, then Flare is a way to get around that. Hopefully they don't have any more counter spells though. Okay. Uh-huh. Take us home. You can do it. I believe in you. They could have Subtlety, so I do have to be worried about that, because Subtlety could actually block my Harbinger. But at the same time, like, they could also end up drawing, like, something like the One Ring or some other nonsense. Oh, that's bad. They drew a basic Plains. Okay. That puts them a lot closer to dealing with this thing. Well, that's very good. So, before they find Prismatic Ending, let's get this fucking Spreading Seas on this Plains. Beautiful. Okay. Okay. I guess we continue to attack the red mana. Increases the clock and turns off potential options here in case this goes away at some point. We're just trying to stick them with cards they cannot cast. Okay, well that's a fetch land that doesn't do anything. So your last card, a counterspell. It is. Seems like it is. Okay, we just die then. They ended up having Solitude plus Counterspell, which is the one thing we could not defeat here. Because now Flage is going to come back, and I don't actually have a way to, like, win the game anymore. Alright, opponent ended up, like, drawing the sequence they needed here to get out of this. Yeah, we flooded out pretty fucking hard here, unfortunately, so... Did what we could, but, you know, the game's, like, over at this point. Flage comes back, it's gonna eat my Tide Shaper. And I just have no way I can actually, like, deal with it anymore. Yeah, I can't actually just concede here. I can't get it off the board. They're just gonna get it into play, so... That's unfortunate. Like, we're pretty close to stabilizing here, but unfortunately just they found exactly what they needed. Like, Solitude plus a counterspell to back it up, and those were like their last 3 cards, so what are you gonna do? Alright. Alright, what did we say our plan was? We want Hexcatcher here. I think we want Consigned to Memory because it deals with the Solitudes. And we want Tishana's Tidebinder. We want the Subtleties. What do we not want? We said we do not like... Spreading Seas is not necessary here, and Harbinger of the Tides is not necessary here. And we can get rid of a Mockingbird. Everything else is fine. This is probably keepable. Okay, you know what? Maybe not. We only have, like, a Hexcatcher to cast, and, like, all these, like, free spells are just not actually doing anything. You know what? Maybe it's not that good. This is a way, way better. Alright, we'll keep this. Think. Probably just get rid of Otawara. No, maybe we can get rid of Hydroelectric Specimen. The problem is, like, I don't know if I'm going to draw a land in turn 2 or not. So if I draw a land in turn 2, I actually don't want to get rid of this. Like, this becomes a little bit more valuable because it protects us from, like, a potential, like, lightning bolt or something. I don't know if they actually have bolts or not, but they could. Maybe something like Prismatic Ending. I don't know. It doesn't actually protect against all that much stuff here. You know what? Maybe this is actually not as useful as I think it is. Alright. It's not ideal, but We only have like 2 creatures here, so it's a little bit vulnerable, but what are you going to do? Okay, well, they obviously do not have a spell snare, so that's good. Alright, what are we doing here? What is the draw? That's actually not bad. We run out a Hexcatcher first. They're the things that probably matter the least right now, so... Sure, Flooded Strand, that's fine. I can play this when you crack the Flooded Strand, so play around Counterspell. That's pretty good too. Alright. They did not crack the Flooded Strand. They were very aware of the fact that I could flash in a creature here. Okay. So we'll probably just do this now. It makes sense. Alright. I mean, this is fine. What are we doing? Pyroclasm, huh? No, thank you. I'm just hoping that they don't have Solitude, because if they have Solitude, my entire career is ended. Okay, that's it. We die. I could not beat them having both of those things, so I did not have enough threats in my hand to overcome them having Pyroclasm and Solitude. There's no way for me to, like, pressure them otherwise. I needed them to just, like, miss it. Unfortunately, the problem is if I use the Flare, then the creatures just die from the damage, so, you know, no matter what happens, I lose everything. So, that was rough. Yeah, I don't know. They had some pretty good draws there. Like, we almost had them in the first game, and then they had, like, the really early Pyroclasm plus the fucking, the Solitude, where... Again, look, this is kind of what I mean. Like, we had the Hexcatchers, and the fact that they were fucking 1/1s is why. If we had, like, another Lord here, if, you know, just, like, 2 Lord of Atlantis would have been enough to, like, survive that entire thing. So... the Solitudes are not doing nearly enough for my liking. Like, they're okay, but, like, I don't really feel like that's the card that I want desperately in the main deck, because it's not helping as much as I would like it to, so I feel like maybe in a lot of scenarios just Force is better, because at least against something like Eldrazi or, you know, the control deck, Force guarantees that we can counter the One Ring more often than Hexcatcher's going to. But yeah, these things just being, and, like, yeah, if you ever go up against the Dimir deck, they're so weak against, like, Bowmasters too. I absolutely hate having X1 creatures in my deck. Like, it's just terrible. Especially if Pyroclasm is getting more popular, than, like, this card is a lot, it's more useless too, so, but, I don't know. With those still, it's a 3-2, and I mean, the matches we lost were not, like, unwinnable matches by any means, so, like, the Boros deck, it's like, we usually go, like, it's like I said, it's a toss-up whether Harbinger sticks, and again, we got really close to Harbinger sticking, and they just managed to pull it out, so... And again, we had the same thing with the control deck, like, if Harbinger sticks against the control deck, like, you have a really good advantage, but the problem is we didn't have enough threats to back it up with, so... You know, we kind of flooded towards the end of that match and didn't have the pressure we needed to kill them in time. They found exactly what they needed to dig themselves out of that hole. But it just once again proves that like this card, this is our entire like strategy. Like our whole life is on this. If this card works, like our deck works, and if this card doesn't work, then we have no chance. It's actually kind of sad that we're that dependent on this card, but what are you gonna do? I mean, I think everything else kind of worked out the way we needed it to. Like, we saw a bunch of play out of Mockingbird. Like, this card actually had some good value for us. Even scenarios where we can copy the opponent's stuff, and it's still really good. But also, just being something we can play with Flare is fine. Just being a creature we can copy Tideshaper to be a 1-mana 2/2 with flying, like, that's also very good. So, yeah, I don't know. It plays around the Chalice like our other 1-drops do not, you know. And, yeah, just having more 1-drops is good with Flare. And more of the creatures that or more of the spells we have to counter are creatures, so stuff like Flage and Solitude means that having Flare online, it matters, I think, a little bit more than Force of Negation, so I think just having more 1-drops to support that is good. So I'm probably going to stick with Mockingbird. I don't see any reason not to. The fact that it is a 1/1 on paper is deceiving because a lot of times it's not going to be a 1/1, and the times where it is, like, we honestly don't care. It's fine, so... Yeah, but, I don't know, like, I think overall we're doing okay. I was kind of hoping we would actually get to see a little bit more play out of Consign here, but I think this card's fine. We did get to use it once, right? And I'm pretty sure it was relevant there, because it played around a counterspell, I think. So what we replicated it to counter a evoke trigger from Solitude, just in case they were able to counter one of these. So that mattered. And this will definitely help us a lot against the Eldrazi deck for sure, because 1 mana to like counter half of the spells, like almost all the important spells in their deck is fine. They do have some Cavern of Souls, but this also protects you against things like the One Ring and also All Is Dust, which are very big important spells, and they're not always going to have Cavern, right? So it does help. But the other important thing is it counters the triggers, right? So when they're playing like Devourer of Destiny, you can counter the Devourer and or the trigger on it, so it doesn't exile a permanent. And the triggers end up doing more damage than the actual creature itself does. So yeah, I think that the deck is still fine. I think things are probably a little bit more hostile towards us than they were before, just because the decks are adapting a little bit more to try to deal with Boros. I think you'll see a little bit more with Oculus because it puts more rectangles on the board. And putting more rectangles on the board is one way of trying to contend with Boros. I think the other way, like you say, more Pyroclasms being played in the metagame now, and that can be like kind of brutal for us because Hexcatcher does not really help protect us against Pyroclasm. You really need the actual lords for that, or like forces at timely times. So, yeah, that's where it's at. So, yeah, the metagame's just going to be hostile to creatures, and like we still have to deal with Boros too. And our plan for it is still the same: playing Harbinger and hoping it sticks, and supporting that with like Spreading Seas and Chalice, and like it works like half the time, and the other half the time it just makes you question what you're doing with your life. So, but that's kind of how it'll be like that for another month until we get to the banned and restricted announcement, because I do think that the One Ring is probably going to get banned, because it's ridiculous. If you look at the numbers objectively, it's actually worse than Oko and Lurrus with the number of decks that are playing it. Like, you cannot make a good faith argument that like it is not more worthy of that than either of those two cards, and they were probably two of the most worthy ban cards ever, just because of how hard they warp everything. I mean, even Boros plays the One Ring in it, for fuck's sake. So it's like I don't know. I do think that there is like a very, very strong argument to ban that card. Plus, I'm pretty sure they'll have sold out all of the copies of it that they want to sell out for Modern at that point. So whether they ban anything else, like from Boros or not, that remains to be seen. But we'll have to just like continue on and see how things evolve until that point. But I think this is roughly the strategy we should be sticking to. So yeah, that's all I've got for tonight. So everybody, thank you for watching. If you watch the replay here, oh, let me, yeah, here you go. You can see the sideboard here before we close this out for the night. Better not win, boy. Well, we went 3-2, so we did win the majority of our games tonight, which is good. We got our money back for our league. That's always a plus. If you're watching the replay, do me a favor, click the thumbs up. That would help me a lot. You can find the replay on all of the relevant links, including the YouTube channel, or on the link tree here, which I will put into the chat right now. If you decide that you really like the content that I do and you really want to express that, I'm by no means like request it, but if you want to, you can sub to the channel here, or you can become a member in YouTube, and I will put your name in the opening card, because that's, the, like I said, the least I can do for that. So everybody, thank you. I will see you again next week, and I guess it's the time of the night where we go and find somebody else to send you off to. So let's see, is anybody else playing Modern right now? Let's go and see. I don't play on Thursdays very often, so I'm not sure like who's normally streaming Modern on Thursdays, or if anybody actually does. So we're gonna find out together. Hopefully this was a entertaining couple hours for you. I aim to please, so we're here always with the Merfolk. Well, I should say not always, but you know what? Enough. We do this enough. Sometimes we do other stuff like Goblin Charbelcher. It is one of my favorites, but I don't see. Oh, you know what? There's Paper Modern here. You know what? Okay, I'm gonna send you to watch some Paper Modern if you want. Looks like Game Hub Store is doing Paper Modern tonight. Cool. Then that will be what we go and check out for the night. So. Okay. Like I said, once again, everybody, thank you for being here. I will see you again next week. That is all I have for tonight. So we are going to go and enjoy some wonderful paper magic, and hopefully you have some fun playing paper yourself. So I'll see you later.